So let's introduce our panel for the evening, the moment you've all been waiting for. We've got another IPO in the house, the first of the year. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you must be under a rock. You must not be following me. You must not be following Money News because it is One Great Studio. I know you're here for the scoop. So let's take a look at the details.
Digital marketing company One Great Studio is seeking to raise $338 million through an initial public offer. If the offer is successful, One Great will apply to be listed on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The company is offering 338 million shares for sale. 169 million shares will be available to the public. The other 169 million are reserved for key partners and 1GS employees. All shares are priced at $1 each, and the minimum purchase is 10,000 shares. That means you can participate in this offer for 10,000 Jamaican dollars plus fees. That's about 65 US dollars. The offer is set to open on August 28, 2023, and is scheduled to close on September 18, 2023. But with such a small offer, it could close early. Applications are being accepted through Barita Investments. Check the link in the description to apply.
Well, let us learn more about this IPO. Joining me now, we have co-founder and CEO of One Great Studio Limited, Djuvane Browne, co-founder and Chief Operations Officer of the company as well, Gina, DeLisser, and Manager of Investment Banking at Barita Investments. They're managing this offer, and that's Gabrielle Spence. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kalila. Thanks for having us.
Hi,
welcome to Taking Stock. Excitement. Oh my gosh, how long has this been in the making, Djuvane?
Man, I mean, I think we decided to start on this road in about, I think it was in 2021. We started to plan towards this, and from there we really just put our heads down. It took a lot of work to get to this point. And so, this process really for us is a 2-year process really to get to this point.
So a lot has happened between the time that you decided to, embark on this process. Coming into 2023, you saw what happened with the market, where it is now, everybody pulling back. Gina, did that make you nervous about being the first for the year to test the waters?
Nervous, no, because we definitely believe it is a strong offer, but it is something that, it could have given us pause for concern, but I definitely think Jamaica is definitely on the rebound, and we're looking forward to it. We're excited to what this offer has in store for all the participants that will be investing in One Great Studio.
Gabrielle, do you think the market is ready now? This is the right time?
I definitely believe so, Kalila, and just since we have actually published this prospectus, we have seen that, the market is most definitely ready.
All right, well, let's take a look at what your company actually does. Here's a video giving us some background about One Great Studio.
One Great Studio is a digital-first agency.
We like to help businesses connect the dots seamlessly across digital platforms.
We see the whole digital space as large, and we think we're just scratching the surface regionally.
We get business. In order for you to market for a company, you have to understand their business. You have to understand their business model, and you have to understand the outcomes that they're trying to achieve. We help people leverage design and technology and connect the dots with their digital assets. We are trying to help companies get in front of the face of their target audience.
All right, so you might need to break that down a little bit more for us. And let me get Djuvane in here. When you say you're a digital-first marketing agency, what exactly does that mean?
All right, that means that we use strategy, design, and technology to drive outcomes for our clients, right? And what are these outcomes? Most of our clients come to us, they have a couple of things that they're looking for, right? They're either looking to increase their sales, right? They're looking to lower their expenses, so get more efficient in how they operate, or they're looking to influence perception, right? So how people think and feel about their brand. With growing the sales now, marketing done well, that actually creates demand, right? It generates leads for our business, and it also generates sales for the business, right? And then on the operating efficiency side, technology can be used to push your costs down, right? So at one point for IPOs, for example, you used to always have to go into a broker office with paper, and then now you don't have to do it anymore. Technology now allows you to apply online, right? So all that cost of having people in your office and dealing with that, all the staff that have to deal with that, your staff can focus on other things by using technology, right? So we use design, tech, and strategy to drive outcomes for our clients. Kalila.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, you would be the first marketing agency listed. The only somewhat comparable company I can think of is The Lab, but it's not quite the same business. They're more a production company.
Yeah, that's correct. And for us, yeah, for us, we call ourselves digital first, right? Because the truth is that we prioritize digital, right? So what that means, we start with strategy always, right? Because every plan has to have strategy. So we're diving into brand, we're understanding the brand, we're learning about the clients. As the video said, we're learning about the business model. We're big on learning. And so that's something that we're always doing. And really for us, our differentiator is we get business. Like we understand business, we understand business models, we understand what drives companies, how companies survive, how companies thrive. That's something that we really pride ourselves in, understanding our customers. So we jump into the strategy, we learn all about the business, and then we come up with a plan, right? And then the next step is that we build up these digital assets. And what are digital assets? Websites are digital assets, web applications are digital assets, mobile apps are digital assets, and social profiles, we consider those with digital assets as well, which are really the assets, the things that people can own, their presence online, essentially, right? And then we drive traffic to those assets, right? So we do SEO and we do paid ad management. And so if you have a website or you have a social page or you have something and nobody's seeing it, right, then it's not really helping your business, right? And so we drive traffic to those assets with search and also with paid ads, right? And then the last part of it, this is kind of how the business work together, is that we optimize those assets over time. And what that means? It means that we measure the results, right? So Kalila, you know some about this, right? You are running all your marketing, right? You have to measure your results, right? So we know what to measure for our clients depending on what their objectives and what their outcomes are, right? And as we roll out the plan and as we execute on the plan, we measure and we take feedback from the measurement. So we look on the data and say what's working, what's not working, and we optimize that plan over time so that the client can get the maximum results.
And to the viewers, you heard Djuvane say that I know what he's talking about, because yes, KRM has been working with 1GS. Let me tell you, these guys know their stuff. They know exactly what they are doing, which brings me to a question that I got on Instagram. So no, it's on TikTok. Kelsey said, given that this industry is highly competitive with low barriers to entry, what is your competitive advantage? I'm going to ask Gina to take that one.
I think that Djuvane alluded to that already, and that's that we get business. I think that's super important. When we approach a project, it's very interesting that somebody would come to us and say, I need a website. And essentially we have a process we go through with the client and we have a discovery call. So we will listen, we'll hear from them, and essentially we will say, well, I know you want a website, but this is what I think that you need. And we kind of walk people through, we listen to what the business needs, we try to understand the business, who they're reaching, who their target customers are, and we try to help them navigate that digital, through the digital space where they need to be as a business. And I think businesses need to be super important to pay attention to omni-channel, how they appear across all channels of the digital platform. They need to be consistency. They need to have be essentially focusing in the right areas to the right target audience. And I think that's something where we're able to help persons to recognize, okay, I thought I needed this, but I recognize that, okay, I have to pay attention to these other areas as well. And we've been able to build trust with our clients. I think that's super important to how the business has grown. clients have been able to trust that we understand their business, we understand where they're trying to go as a business, and that we're very invested in seeing them achieve those results online.
So I know this is a difficult one to measure because data is so limited in Jamaica, but do you guys have an idea what your market share is?
No, I don't think we have an idea of that, to be
Yeah, I
honest.
know that's a tough one. It's hard to, trust me, it's hard
But
to get.
we have a big client list, and I don't know people have been asking about our clients. So Barita is one of our clients, right? Jamaica Brothers Group, Best Rest Chicken, Hypro, Canopy, Guardsman Group, National Supply. We have Tasty Cheese. We have Active Traders, Juicy Patties, R.A. Williams, Ministry of Health and Wellness, National Health Fund, PIG, OJ, and we have lots more as well. And through our acquisition, which we will talk about more, I'm sure, right? We have clients like Guru.com, which Guru.com is a huge company. Avivo, which I think is publicly listed in Canada, and Amazon is a client. Amazon Germany is a client of High Voltage SEO, which is a company that One Great Studio now owns.
And Kalila, just to add to what Djuvane said, as you know, Barita is a client of 1GS. We're a proud client. So, of course, this is a full circle moment for us to bring our vendor public. So being a client, one thing that gravitated or made us gravitate towards 1GS, and I think one of their competitive advantages is that they're a full service digital first agency. So what does that mean? So a company like Barita, they would typically want to go to one entity where they can get everything that they need. So from strategy, social media management, content production, SEO, and building or web applications as well. So the boss platform, full circle, the boss platform that persons are applying on, 1GS built it for us. So
Wow.
I think that is one of their main competitive advantages. They offer so many services. So in other words, instead of using full service, persons may refer to it as a one-stop shop, but it really is a full service digital first agency.
Wow. Yeah. And I think that most people would recognize the quality of the marketing for Barita. It's something that people have commented on over the past couple of years. I'm like, who's doing their marketing? Why is Barita all of a sudden everywhere? Now you meet the company behind it, and here you are getting ready to list. So let's talk about this acquisition that this company that you acquired last year. It's an SEO company. Explain what SEO is, how this acquisition came about, and what the impact has been.
So SEO is search engine optimization. And what that means is basically doing things that would help you to rank better on search engines, right? So a search engine is like Google, for example, right? But search is bigger than that because you also have social search right now as well. So you can do things that help you rank better in YouTube when people search. You can do things that help you rank better in TikTok when people search, for example. So search engine optimization is doing the right things to help businesses or persons rank better when people search on any search engine, essentially.
Which brought you to have an interest in this company named High Voltage SEO, which is an
Correct.
SEO company based in the United States.
Yes.
What led you to decide that you wanted to increase this part of the business, that SEO was going to be a
So
big role in your future?
I think for us, it was the recognition that SEO is a big part of digital, but we're weak in that in the Caribbean, right? In the region. Like not a lot of people are investing in their SEO. Not a lot of people are paying attention to their SEO. So when we were looking for a target, we wanted a target with complementary services, a target that had capabilities that we never had, or we didn't have the depth in. And then also a target that had access to markets that we didn't have. And then we wanted to do the reciprocal as well. We wanted to have them to have access to market that they never had, and then also them to get expertise that they never had, because we have a big design team, we have a big development team, and so that's now when you put those together, then you really have a powerhouse of an agency, essentially.
So how did this link come about? How did you find out about High Voltage? How did that whole thing happen?
I mean, so there's a whole process of doing M&As, and so we started that journey in 2021. Mark Gale worked with us as a consultant. Mark and I are very good friends. Gina knows Mark longer than me, actually. And we started our board. We've been working with our board for 4 years now that we put our board together and really started to say we're going to take this business serious. We're going to grow this business because we really believe in the potential that Jamaica has to export services. Like I know for a long time, you see Jamaica and we have tourism and we bring people into the island. We earn US dollars that way. We think as a service business, the service industry in general can actually grow and export our services and bring hard currency back to Jamaica. And so that's a big part of what we wanted to do with this transaction. So we started in 2021, just kind of going through, and our board said, Djuvane, you want to do this because for years we were growing inorganically, right? I mean, organically. So we were just growing organically, no capital, just, hand to the plow, work, do good work, clients give us more work, and people recommend us word of mouth, and we grew from 21 million in 2018 to over 128 million in 2021, right? So as we're approaching the end of 2021, we said we want to start looking for some inorganic opportunity. We had a board retreat where Mark and I, we prepped for a long time before that, looking at different options. We had options to do, acquire a SaaS target, acquire this, acquire that. And at the end of the day, what we really settled with, it's not even settled, it's the thing that was actually perfect for us, is acquiring an agency. Why? Because I've been serving clients, building websites since the year 2000, right? And so we have lots of experience serving clients as an agency, right? And so instead of going out there and tackling some other industry or some other type of business that we don't know, we decided to pursue an inorganic opportunity in the business that we've been doing for years, and that's in the agency business. And so that's the reason why we decided to go with high voltage SEO, and that's how this came about.
So you went after this US-based company, and it was no small company either. It's a company.
No, it was bigger than us.
It's bigger than you.
It was bigger than us at the time, and it was rapidly growing as well. So that also made the transaction very interesting because they were growing during the time as well. So they were larger than us and they were growing, and so that's really a part of what makes it special. Barita believed in us. You see, that's a part of the thing. You see, when you work with a company and they know what you're capable of and they see how you serve them over the years, they really had confidence in us to look on us to say, here's the financing to go and get a company that's bigger than you guys, because we've seen what you've done. We believe in you. And so we really have to just, big up Barita for their confidence in us and also for the work that they've done with us to help us get to this point.
Right. So in order to acquire this company late last year, you took a loan from Barita for $270 million, and a large chunk of the proceeds of this IPO will be used to repay that loan. So Gabrielle, tell me about that relationship.
Sure, no problem. So I know persons have been asking, so this is the perfect opportunity that we're grateful for to actually share a bit about this transaction. So as Djuvane said, of course, we are familiar with his work, and when they approached us about this, we got the opportunity to take a deep dive into their business. And when they approached us with it, we of course helped them to do the due diligence for the transaction. And in doing so, we felt confident that they would be able to actually carry this strategy out. And of course, so far, it has proven to be true. Um, as you said before, a large chunk of the proceeds will be used towards paying down this IPO. Now, what I want to clear up is that using IPO proceeds to pay down debt is not necessarily a bad thing. You have to look at it a bit closer, right? So what One Great did was they saw this opportunity, right? $270 million opportunity. And at the time, they were making revenues of around 128. So let's say they came to market and they said, okay, we are One Great and we're making this amount of revenue, but we want to acquire a company in the US, and we think it will be accretive in nature. But you don't know, what would investors say at that point in time? Investors would probably give it another, look, or a side eye or anything or something like that. But what One Great did, they took a bold move in a high interest rate environment. They were courageous enough and confident in themselves that they could execute. So what they did, they took the debt, they actually executed it, and they worked with HV SEO to integrate the SEO business line into OneGreat. And what does that do for investors? What that does for investors is actually prove to them upfront that they are capable of doing it, and they have done it, and they have done it successfully. And it's not just 3 months; we're actually showing you 6 months of results, and they have been on an upward trajectory. Also, they made this acquisition in September, so it's almost their 1 year anniversary for the acquisition. So what that tells investors is that OneGreat would have already worked out a lot of the kinks that comes with an M&A. So what investors are getting is actually something that has been completed, and all they're doing now is to pay off the high interest debt. And that, in paying off or in reducing that high interest debt, it would significantly add to their bottom line. Probably the servicing for that debt is around 35 million. So we can do the math and add it to their bottom line, and you see just how much value it adds to shareholders.
Absolutely. Looking through the prospectus and seeing the numbers, we see where that acquisition is already delivering big. It seems like you guys are getting a pretty nice return on investment. And Philip says, leave out the necessarily. Using IPO money to pay down debt is not a bad thing. Talk about some of the other uses of the proceeds. So like we said, this is the major ones of paying down the debt for that big acquisition that's already reaping rewards, but you have some other things as well. Gina, what else are the proceeds going to be used for?
So as laid out in the prospectus, a major part of our growth strategy will include the strengthening of OneGS revenue streams by further integrating the various business lines. We will be strategically expanding our service lines as well and increasing service exports, which has a possibility of pursuing other acquisitions in the future. So we can't really delve too much into the details of some of those things, but I think that gives you a pretty good idea of the stuff that we're trying to do.
Well, what's your vision for the company, Djuvane? Where do you want to see OneGreat Studio, and where do you see the biggest opportunities?
I mean, I think we see great opportunity locally, Kalila, as well. So the truth is, all right, so let's take it this way. The first step is we're going to get great growth from just incorporating HV for the full year, right? What you saw from us last year is really OneGS plus HV for 3.5 months. So the first step is just adding HV for the full year. And if you look on our results from Q4 and Q1, right? In Q4, we did $103.7 million in revenue. In Q1, we did $114.9 million in revenue. Add those together, you get $218 plus $0.6 million over the 6 months. That's from October to March, essentially, right? $218.6 million. So if you annualize that, for example, and you stretch it over 12 months, you see what our revenues will look like, and that's essentially what the projections speak towards as well, right? So the reality is that we see this opportunity to expand the business through just incorporating HV, right? That's the first step. And the second step is cross-selling, right? So they have clients that need what we do, and we have clients that need that they do, right? And so cross-selling between existing clients is something that we think we're going to get a bump from as well, right? And then at the next step forward, right? And then we start selling search engine optimization to new clients in the Caribbean, and they start selling our services to new clients in all regions, right? So that's just growth that's just packaged into this deal, essentially. That's growth that's packaged into the company that we're offering right now to the public to participate in. That's the existing growth that is there, right? And then there's the expansion of the business lines into the different geographic areas. And then also using some of that capital to invest in our team and to build up our capacity. We're building up dedicated sales capacity, dedicated business development capacity. Kalila, up until recently, I was the salesperson doing all the selling in one great studio, running the company, doing all these other things as well, and trying to get all the proposals done. So that's something that's going to be big for us now when we have a sales team that are proactively going out there and seeking new clients versus what we were doing before, which is just taking the clients as they come to us essentially.
Yes, so you're going to go out and get that money. I love it. So which brings me to the next question I actually was going to take, which is from Sean online. We have a lot of questions from the viewers, by the way, so we have to start getting to them. Sean said, the 1GS development team looks really small, in my opinion. Are there any intentions to expand the team to accommodate new business? Yes, you just were speaking to that. And if so, here's the question. How big of a team would you like to get to?
Yeah, I think for us, we're going to also explore that different team models as well, Kalilo. And so I don't know what size our team is going to be in the future. We're going to always try to operate efficiently at the same time. And I mean, we use tech and we use our processes to help us to be efficient with our team size as well. But one thing to point out about our cost structure, and a lot of people may not understand this or be used to this, because essentially a bulk of our team costs is actually in our direct costs, right? For a lot of businesses, when you think about their staff, you think about that in their operational expenses, but because our biggest assets are people, and that's what, that's the people is our cost as well as the time, is the labor that goes into the projects. So a big chunk of our direct costs actually is our team costs, right? And so over time, we expect that to grow as the business grows. And you can see that as well. I think we disclosed some of the team sizes in the prospectus, and our team has grown significantly, kind of keep track with the revenue. But a part of operating efficiently is to try to get more revenue without growing the team at that same pace. And I think that's something that we've been able to do and that we'll continue to be able to do as well.
I think you said you guys have about 50-something team members now?
Yeah, we have 55 team members right now.
But because you work mostly remotely, it may not feel like it all the time.
No, and that's something that, I mean, we have to do things to bring the team together from time to time. And that's something that right now we're just kind of getting in the same digital space with the HP team right now. And that feels really good to have our full team in one place, and I'm really excited about what that means, because everybody is talented and experienced and an expert in their field. And learning from each other is something that we're really looking forward to do. Them learning from us and we learning from them essentially.
So next question from the audience comes from Davian, who says, so does One Great Studio use artificial intelligence as part of the technology now, or will it be used in the near future? I don't know who can take that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that one as well. The truth is, AI is something that we have been leveraging, right? But it's also something that we have to leverage cautiously. It's still in the early days. And so because of that, there are lots of legal things that will happen. And what we have right now, it may not be the exact format that is going to exist in 2 years when regulation catch up to it. So it is something that we've been leveraging to help us to be more efficient. But it's not something, but we have to be careful. You can't imagine think about a business like ours during the crypto and blockchain explosion, right? If when it just started, we jump on it and we drop everything else that we're doing and we jump in that direction, where would we be today? When it comes to these advances in technology, it's one of the things that we have experience navigating. So as I said to you before, I started building websites in the year 2000. We're now in 2023, 23 years of building websites. How we built websites in 2000 is very different from how we build websites right now, right? And that's the beautiful thing about a company like One Great Studio, is because we're in the business of selling outcomes, right? And so we use design, we use strategy, and we use tech to deliver these outcomes. So as the technology changes, what we will do is that we will incorporate technology as best as we can. And we're going to stay on top of it. Learning is super important. We have a whole page in the prospectus dedicated to learning, because in our industry, we have to stay learning. And we employ people. It's one of the big things that we look for when we hire people, Kalila, is actually people who love to learn. And sometimes somebody might not have all the skill sets, but just have this drive and this passion to learn. And we said that's somebody who should work at 1GS.
Okay. I see quite a few people in the comments asking about profitability. We spoke about your revenues and the impact of the acquisition of high voltage SEO, but Strong Link says, I don't like to talk about revenue alone. let's hear about profitability. So how profitable is this
Gabby,
company?
let me take that one for StrongLink. So StrongLink, if you're in the prospectus, you need to start by looking, well, read the whole thing, right? But when you finish looking on 2022, we've broken out Q1 and Q4 for a reason, because the business is very different in those two quarters, right? So in Q1 2022, our PBT was 28.52 million, right? 28.52 million. Follow me now. We're raising money in this IPO to pay down debt. The finance cost in Q1 alone, Gabby spoke about the high interest rate debt. The finance cost alone in Q1 was $9 million. When we significantly bring that debt down, what happens to that PBT? That's why Gabby is talking to the immediate impact of this transaction. The investment in this IPO, results will come basically immediately, because we're paying on that debt, which is such a big part of our expenses. And when that debt goes away, that profitability goes immediately to the bottom line. And at the end of the day, back into the pockets of the shareholders, which everybody has a chance to participate in that right now.
And I just want to add here, I just want to take it a step further, Kalila. Let's not just talk about profitability. Let's talk about cash flow generation. So with different types of companies, you'll see profitability, but profitability doesn't actually speak to cash to be able to run the business. If you look at 1GS's cash flow from operations, even before the acquisition, they've always been in a positive. With the acquisition, just for Q1 alone, their PBT, as Djuvane said, was 28.5, but their cash flow from operations was around 49 million. So what that speaks to, or what it attests to, the business model of One Great, and it actually being a viable one and being able to actually generate cash to run the business. So it's not artificial profit. It is real profit, real cash flow.
Okay, Gabby, can I just add something to, because we hear questions as well, Kalila, about, if you use all that money to pay down debt, where future growth will come from? And I come back to exactly what Gabby was talking about a while ago, which is the cash that 1GS has. At the end of March, in March 31st, 2022, our cash and cash equivalent balance was $130.97 million J. And consider that we're going to have extra money left over after we pay down the debt. That's adequate capital for a business like us to pursue future growth opportunities.
And that cash balance didn't happen by chance. That cash balance didn't just appear suddenly in the bank account. That came from prudent financial management.
So does that mean that you would be in a fairly good position to pay dividends? Lots of people in the comments asking. Kuruma says the $1 million question is this a dividend paying stock?
Guys, Gina and I will own about 50% of One Great Studio at the end of this, should we have a successful listing. And we like dividends. We've been receiving dividends for the last 2 years, and we don't intend to stop receiving dividends. So as long as it makes sense for the business, we intend to pursue that dividend policy we have right now, up to 30% dividend policy. And that's something that we think we would love to continue.
Andrew wants to know, Andrew says, I'm wondering why you're going public instead of going at it privately, particularly for a digital marketing company. And then to the second part of the question, I think you started responding to that already about your growth strategy. But why do a public transaction instead of something private?
For me, I think a public transaction, let's start with the Junior Stock Exchange. The Junior Stock Exchange has done incredible things for the Jamaican economy, right? It gives access to small businesses, to the type of capital that you wouldn't have access to otherwise, right? It allows you to create certain opportunities. Like, I don't think that financing is there for 1GS if there is not a Junior Stock Exchange, right? So the reality is we're going public because going public facilitated the growth of One Great Studio. And at the end of the day, we have ambitions to grow this company even further. And I laid out some of the growth strategy earlier, so I don't think I'll repeat that again, Kalila.
Right. So the next question comes from Sean. Sean's on fire with these questions today. He wants to know, how stable are the contracts that you have now, and how many long-term contracts do you have? You did list some of your clients previously that you've done previous work for, but how many contracts do you have now, and how stable are they?
Yeah, so about 60% of our revenue comes from retainer clients, right? And we have clients at OneJust, we've kept clients for a very long time. We didn't disclose our average lifespan, but that's maybe something that you'll see from us in the future because it is an important metric for a company like us. And so the truth is that like we keep clients for a long time. But different clients are on different contracts. Some people are on ongoing contracts, some people are on 6-month contracts, some people are on 12-month contracts with auto renewals. So, and then we have some clients that are project based as well. So what we found over time is that we've had a good mixture of clients in terms of the type of contracts that they have.
Okay, next question. Oh, where did I put the question? Okay, let me find the next question. Okay, Philip wanted to know, how do you market yourselves locally and overseas? So how do you get new clients? You guys hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I've seen if Gina wanted to take that one. I think as we said in Prospectus, for many years, it was basically word of mouth for One Great Studio. Like in this industry, when you do good work for people, they tend to tell their friends about you. And that's something that has done wonders for us. It's something that we think will continue to work for us as well. But again, right now, we are a digital marketing company. So as you've seen during this IPO, you've seen, our faces, you've seen our people, you've heard us telling our story. That's what we do for a living. And so we have the ability to market ourselves and to sell ourselves through other channels other than that as well. So we have different strategies that we're rolling out. You will start to see them more and more, and you'll see them as we go forward.
I think even the fact of you doing this IPO raises your profile substantially because you've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, but not many people knew who you were.
And
at least in the public domain.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is that a lot of people say, I've never heard about this company or where this company come from. And the truth is that you've seen our work, right? But that quietness, Kalila, is really a reflection of our seriousness and the diligence that we work in our businesses. At One Great Studio, we like to say we're about the work, not about the talk. And so for years, we've had our head down, just building the business, growing up. And right now, we're kind of saying, well, here we are. You get to be a part of what we're doing right now.
All right, so let's take some of the more technical questions about applying for the IPO. Let me see. So this would be for Gabby.
Sure.
Marvin to know, when I invest through the Boss platform, will the stock show on my portfolio of a different broker?
Okay, all right. So the Boss platform, the Barita Boss platform, it is definitely inclusive. So no matter which brokerage account you have, let's say you have a brokerage account at a different institution, all you need is your JCSD account number and you can apply through the Barita Boss platform. So what is important, or what the connection here is the JCSD. So no matter which brokerage house you come from, the JCSD is the central registrar. So once you have stocks in a specific JCSD account, it should show up at whichever brokerage institution that you're using.
Okay, so that answers some of the other questions that some other people had about. So you don't need a Barita account necessarily. Does that mean that's any investment account will work if you apply through Boss?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question, Kalila.
Right. So can you use any investment account, not just Barita?
Correct. I mean, we would love for you to sign up to be a Barita client on the Barita Boss platform. You can sign up to be a Barita client, but yes, you can use you can be from any institution and sign up for the IPO on the Barita Boss platform.
But you can't use other platforms. It has to be the Boss platform.
Correct.
Which one GS developed?
Which One Great developed. So you get to test out some of One Great's products.
All right. So you're not using the selling agent that we normally hear about, the selling agent method. It's just whichever JCSD account you have, go to Barita Boss, put in your information and apply.
Well, for now, yes. If anything changes, we'll definitely make an announcement. So you can
All
tune
right.
into the One Great Instagram account and Barita's Instagram account. Of course, we'll make the announcement there if and
So
when
the
it
sh-
happens.
the share price is $1 a share. Minimum buy is 10,000 shares. Confirming, yes.
Correct. Yes, 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 yes.
And let me see. I have another question here. This one is from Degore, who wants to know, will Barita convert any of the debt owed to them into shares?
So the debt is not convertible to equity. If you see, well, in the prospectus, it does speak to conversion, but it says it's convertible to a bond, which is another form of debt. But what I can say is that Barita already has an equity stake in One Great. Right now, prior to the listing, we have a 9.81% stake in One Great. And after the listing, if the listing is successful, we'll have a 7.85% stake in One Great. And that's listed in the share capital table in the prospectus.
Awesome. So I think we've covered most of the questions. I tried to put the questions from the viewers in question groups. So I think we've got through most, if not all, of the major ones. So I'm going to give you guys the last word. Djuvane, Gina, and Gabrielle, anything you want to say before we wrap?
Okay, I'll go first. I want Djuvane and Gina to end with a bang, of course, as not only lead broker and arranger, but also as a client of One Great. I think this is a very good company. The leaders are solid. They have a solid character. The board of directors solid again. You have Mr. John Bailey. You have Miss Jacqueline Sharp, who was a former CEO of Scotia. And I think what One Great brings to the market is, Kalila, you alluded to it in the first couple seconds of the interview, is that there aren't any other digital marketing agencies on the stock exchange right now. And One Great is also, they bring a lot of other things, including over 50% of their revenue is generated outside of Jamaica, in US dollars. Plus, they have a low client concentration. So that also diversifies a lot of risk for One Great. Plus, what I always say to persons, when you're looking at an investment or you're looking to make an investment in a company, you always have to look at the industry in which they operate. So is it a growing industry or is it a declining industry? And digital marketing, one thing everybody can agree on is that digital the digital era is here to stay. A lot of us make our buying decisions based on what we see on the internet, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. That influences us a lot these days. And what One Great does is help businesses get in front of their clients. So I would definitely say that they're at the forefront of a growing industry. And I think those are just a few things that One Great brings. So Javina and Gina, you have the floor.
Okay. And I see our viewers are telling us that this IPO is available on Moneyline as well. So there's another
Uh-oh.
platform for you. All right, Djuvane.
I think I would just encourage persons viewing who, just take the time to get to know us a little bit more. Check out onegreatipo.com. We spent a lot of time, thinking about what how we want to put, or what we do out there, and to give prospective investors a better idea of who we are and what we're about. So I really encourage everybody to check out onegreatipo.com. We have some videos that I think will be really helpful for you to get to know us better. Yeah, and just that we're really excited for this opportunity to list on the junior stock exchange. But more than anything, we're trying to build a company that will make a difference in Jamaica, and we're really excited for the opportunity to share who we are, what we're about with the public, and we hope that you will really take the time to get to know us and see that we're serious about business and we're serious about driving shareholder value.
Djuvane?
Yeah, I think I'll just pick up from where Gina left off and just about who we are as a company. You know, when we came up with our name, One Great Studio, immediately after, like we decided on these values, and they're don't be greedy. You can see it right here. This is the second one. Think long term, and then do good, right? And for us, our values are big to us. We're a company that really, really, you know, focuses on culture, and we want to have a place where people want to work. And then also, you know, a lot of places have, you know, values in theory, but not values in application. We really strive to live out our values in how we operate, right? And so that's one side. You know, the second side, you know, is that I believe in the future of One Juice, right? As that is pointed to, the industry is a growing industry. You know, people live, work, play online. Do you think people are going to be online more, spend more time on their phone next year than they did this year? Like, I look at my kids, they have no clue what it's like to be without like a device. You know, they've always been on these devices. And so looking forward, we can, you know, we believe that time on devices, you know, all those things will contribute to the industry growing, right? And that's one part about the industry. You know, the next part is that the company have diverse revenues, as Gabby said. You know, we have a history of growth. You know, our cash flows are strong, and the truth is that we're not settling, right? We are passionate about growing this business. We are fully invested in growing this business, and we want to see this grow, and it's in all our interests. Like, so our interests are 100% aligned with the future shareholders, and so we're looking forward to welcoming new shareholders and to create value for everybody coming out to this offer.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you. We're looking forward to August 28th, which is the open day. I see a few people asking when is the open. It's August 28th. So you guys have a couple of weeks to get your money ready to participate in this IPO. I won't even bother telling you the close date because junior market listings don't even bother looking at the close date. Get your money, get your application in early before the open date. So within the next 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Djuvane, Gina, Gabrielle. All the best to you.
Thanks, Kayla. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.